All right, welcome to a special Friday edition of Ringside Reporter Podcast. And today, we're going to talk about the Triple G Steve Rolls weigh-in, talk about how they looked, and we'll touch on the Andy Ruiz situation and what his contract says as far as rematch clauses and everything else. We're learning more each day, and we'll share with you guys what we know. Salute to Joel O, who's in the chat, Centurion's son in the chat. All right, so let's get right to it. Triple G versus Steve Rolls, the weigh-in. All right, so Triple G weighs in at 163 pounds on the nose. Steve Rolls weighs 163.8, and the contracted weight was 164. Not sure why. I guess they just wanted to, I guess it wasn't a real, I guess it's kind of like a tune-up type fight. So they wanted to get the weight, where he didn't have to be real rigid about coming down to 160. So I think there it is. Triple G looked good. He looked pretty ripped up. I mean, he looked better at this weigh-in than I've seen him look in other weigh-ins, put it that way. He looked better for this one than either one of the Canelo weigh-ins. He looked good. He looked hydrated. He looked shredded. He looked pretty ripped. Steve Rolls, on the other hand, looked incredible. It didn't look like an ounce of fat on him. I mean, he was completely shredded. He looked like a personal trainer or something like that. I mean, he looked really good. Just completely shredded, man. So he looks like he can go. Steve Rolls undefeated. So we'll see where it goes. Now the knock on Steve Rolls is that he leaves himself open for that right hand. He likes to go inside. He doesn't go out from a distance. He likes to shoot that right hand over the top, and but he does get tagged with that right hand too. So, not the best characteristic if you're going to go fight Triple G. But we'll see what happens. I don't expect it, I'll be honest, and I don't expect another Andy Ruiz situation tomorrow night. I don't expect it to be an overly great fight. I think Triple G gets him out of there. I think Triple G gets him out of there maybe mid-rounds, if not earlier. This is a good fight, I think, for Triple G. This is a showcase fight. Honestly, it's a showcase fight. The card is not that great. I'll be honest with you guys. I was really unimpressed with the card, even when we were going over this last week, man. And I guess it's a lot of people from Loeffler's stable. There's a lot of people from Kazakhstan and stuff like that, Ukraine and Europeans, A lot of people I haven't heard of. There were some people I had heard of, some people I haven't heard of. Charles Conwell's on the card. Ayubov's on the card. But, the main attraction obviously is Triple G. But, yeah, man, I was real unexcited, put it that way, with the card. So, Beeb, what were your thoughts on this?
Again, I thought both fighters looked great, and Steve Rolls didn't have any rolls on him, as you said. He was shredded to the bone. And Golovkin, I thought the same exact thing that you just said. I've never seen him in that great a shape, in a long, long time. Like the other two weigh-ins he had for Golovkin, and even the one for Martirosyan, he just looked a little bit drawn. And we were both speculating whether or not it was time for him to move up to 168. But what a difference the time off and the extra 3 pounds makes, because he looked phenomenal.
He looked great.
He looked really, really good. He just looked... he had a sheen to him. He was really, his skin, you could tell when a guy's skin looks good. His skin wasn't pale, because that's a sign of being, kind of drawn when you're pale, when you're kind of malnourished, and you're not, you don't have all those electrolytes in your body, and you're really severely dehydrated. Then you have pale skin and what have you. But he just looked good all around, and I'm expecting probably a short night tomorrow night. I don't think Steve Rolls has the defensive abilities to really keep Golovkin off him and keep him at bay. I just don't think that he'll be able to counter Golovkin when he comes in. Golovkin's got a really good way of making himself small when he comes in, throwing feints. And it's hard to really stop him. And his jab has been really, really sharp. Even in the two Canelo fights, which I thought he won both of them, I thought his jab was a key weapon. And I'm just curious to see if because he had some time off, will he come out a little slow? Will it take him some time to get warmed up? Or will he just jump all over Steve Rose and blow him out of there in 2 rounds like he did Martirosyan? I'm curious to see that. But this is a good fight. Like I said, people may criticize the opponent, and I get that. But when you have these guys who are fighting at the top level, we've said this several times before, you can't keep putting them over and over and over again in with the killers. You got to give them a softie every now and then in between in order to prolong the career. And Canelo had kind of a softie, when he decided to move up to middleweight and take the regular WBA title. So it was he had his little soft touch. So Golovkin have his little soft touch right now, and they can both get it on in September. Because I think that's the move. It looks like that's going to be the move, and I'll be very surprised if that's not the next fight.
I will too. I think that maybe I'm in the minority because I didn't really want to see a second one. But do you really want to see a third one? I don't know.
I like the matchup. I enjoy watching the matchup because it's tactical. Don't get me wrong. It's a tactical fight when these two guys meet. But you're kind of sitting on the edge of your seat because both guys can explode at any minute. And I thought both fights were very entertaining. People criticized Canelo in the first fight, but I thought he brought a good game plan. I mean, I thought that he made a good account of himself. I had Golovkin winning the first fight 7-5. Ironically enough, I had the rematch 8-4 for Golovkin. The rematch in most people's minds seemed closer than the first fight, but I thought Golovkin did a better job with the jab in that fight. I thought he landed more shots. I still didn't like the fact that he didn't go to the body, but again, he was probably concerned with the counter shots. But either way, I really enjoyed both fights. They were both good fights, and you don't know who's really going to win. But unfortunately, we have this stigma in our heads that if the fight is close, Canelo's going to get it. So that does take some of the luster off of the fight. You know what I mean?
I think that's it for me. I think you're right.
Yeah, because you're probably saying to yourself, no matter what this guy does, if he doesn't knock Canelo out, he's not going to get the victory.
Well, I think that's it. If you couldn't, let me tell you this: if you couldn't give him the first fight, if he couldn't get the win in the first fight, how's he going to get the win? Period. And in the second fight, I'll tell you, in the second fight, I scored it a draw in the second fight. I thought a draw was fair. But listen, I wasn't crying that Canelo won the second fight because I don't think Golovkin won it. He may have got enough to get a draw. He did not do enough to win that fight. He eked out a draw on my card. I mean, he really had to come from behind to get that draw. So you look at a third fight, again, man, I mean, Canelo's slowing down a little bit. Given the fact that he's slowing down, the fight's going to be in Vegas. Golovkin says, no, I don't want the fight in Vegas. I want it somewhere else like New York. Son, that ain't happening. That fight's in Vegas.
You don't think they can put that in the Madison Square Garden, bro?
Nope.
You don't think? You don't think DAZN will have an influence on that either?
I think DAZN will have zero influence on that. Canelo is their money guy. He's the biggest star on the network. Wherever he wants to fight, and there's big money in Vegas.
There's
bigger money in Vegas than there is in New York.
You think so?
Absolutely. Hotels, everything like that. Golden Boys juiced it. That fight ain't going nowhere. On Mexican Independence Day, you're going to have it somewhere else besides Vegas? No way.
I'd love for the fight to be at Madison Square Garden.
I would too. I think Madison Square Garden is more of a level playing ground, but that fight ain't coming out of Vegas. And again, like you said, if he doesn't knock Canelo out, that fight ain't going his way. I think that's just the trap. That's the trap door.
Where was the Jacobs fight? That was in Vegas, right?
Yeah, it sure was.
But the fight before that was in New York. That was at Madison Square Garden.
Was that the Fielding fight?
The Rocky Fielding fight was at Madison Square Garden, I thought. Let me double check that. I believe it was. It was in New York, I know that.
Bingo in the chat says judges already paid for in Vegas. He ain't losing a decision in Vegas, man.
It's a shame that we have to talk like this too. It's just
Well, look at Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather wasn't coming out of Vegas. You know, he's not coming out either. He was not coming out either.
Yeah, was that the Rocky Fielding fight was at the Madison Square Garden? Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine because there was no danger in that fight.
Yeah.
I mean, there was zero danger in that fight.
Corey Lee says GGG versus Rolls is a joke. Beeb, salute. What the fuck? I mean, we know what it is, but it's
definitely a tune-up fight.
It's a tune-up fight, but doesn't Golovkin deserve a tune-up fight after 2 tough fights with Canelo? Like I said, do you want to?
I think so.
I mean,
listen. I mean, he's coming off the first loss of his career. No, you know what I mean. He's coming off the first loss of his career. Maybe this is what Joshua should do. You know, take a page out of Triple G's book. You know, I mean, you take a loss and then you get a tune-up opponent and then you go. You know, I don't know.
Most people would think that, but Eddie Hearn wants this fight so bad. Like Eddie Hearn wants this fight more than Joshua.
He wants it more than Joshua. I think he wants it more than Joshua, which is funny to me because you got Usyk. Doesn't he promote Usyk now, right? Usyk's a Matchroom guy.
Yeah, but Usyk got hurt towards bicep. He's going to be off for a little while. That's a shitty injury to get.
Tough injury. That's a tough injury to come back from, especially for a boxer.
I was about to say, that's horrible for a boxer to have a torn bicep.
It's not like a boxer uses his bicep at all, you know. It's like what do they use the bicep for? You know,
it's like a porn star having a genitalia injury. they'd be all done, right?
They're done, right? You can't throw a punch. Oh my goodness! So let's say Golovkin wins this, which we all expect him to do.
Yeah.
And listen, man, anybody tuning into this fight to see lightning strike twice. It ain't happening.
Listen,
right?
Christmas comes once a year.
That's it. That's all it comes. You know, this ain't happening again. What do you? I mean, you know, I think that's the fight they're going to make because I don't know who else is their option though over in the Canelo camp. Who else is the option over there? I know they had talked about Callum Smith. That fight ain't happening. I don't think that fight's going to happen. Callum Smith is a very, very big risk.
He's like a light heavyweight size guy.
He's a very big guy.
He's a big guy.
And he can box. He's very good. That's a very tough fight. Very tough fight. It's a big money fight. I guess Triple G Canelo's a big money fight, number 3. What do you do? You know, I guess that's the route they're going. But like I said, if you're Canelo, who else do you got that you can make that much money with?
Well, if they wait for the Andre Solecki fight before they announce their next fight, then you know that they may be looking at Andre and Golovkin, Canelo's team.
Man, I tell you what, that's a dangerous fight too. That Andre fight, that's a very dangerous fight.
That's a horrible style of matchup
for anybody.
It would be interesting if Golovkin went after Andre instead of Canelo.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. And then after that, then the winner could fight Canelo. That would be good.
That would be interesting.
You know.
But I'm with you. I think he does fight. I think he does fight Triple G again, and I think he fights him in September.
So what the zone wants, you know. That was the goal.
Yeah, that's why he came on. That's why he came on to make that fight. Yeah, he's got a big deal contract with the zone. Both of them do. So yeah, man, that's why they came on. Joel I think he just tore one bicep. He heard Usyk tore both biceps. No, I think it was just one. Just one. So yeah, man. What were your thoughts? What were your overall thoughts on the card, man? I thought this was like an ESPN type card.
Well, we don't really know who these guys are. Part of the point of this card this undercard, is for Triple G to have his, Eastern European fighters be showcased in America on a big platform. And that was the reason why he had said he signed with DAZN. So these names are not recognizable to us, but who knows? Someone off this card could be a diamond in the rough that we don't even know about. So that's
like
that's
a
the way I'm.
box.
But but again, we could see these guys for the first time, which probably we are going to be seeing these guys for the first time. I don't remember seeing any of these guys fight before. Have you?
Ayubov, right? We've seen
Ayubov
fight.
Yeah, Ayubov.
Charles Conwell, Ohio man. We've seen him fight. But I haven't seen that co-main they got.
Yeah.
Remember the co-main?
Where was Charles Conwell from? Like, where was he on? Was he on Showbox a few times? I don't remember seeing him fight.
So, yeah.
I may have seen him fight.
I follow him because he's from Ohio.
Yeah, I never seen him fight.
Really?
No, I don't remember. I don't remember. Well, again, I'm from the real Titletown.
I'm Titletown, son. We're Titletown. How dare you?
Fake. That's the fake Titletown.
It's the real Titletown. You're the fake Titletown.
So, what about the Patriots? What about the Red Sox? And who's in the Cup right now?
The Cup?
Who's in the Stanley Cup right now?
The Stanley, does anybody, nobody even watches hockey, son? Do they even got a team?
Well, in Ohio, they don't even have ice skating rinks, so you wouldn't know anything about hockey.
Well, because it's warm here. It's the Midwest. It's nice and warm, and,
Do you guys have, hopscotch championships over there?
We got double Dutch. Let me bring up this card. All right, so Ali Akhmedov versus Marcus McDaniel. Now, that's the co-main. Now, Ali Akhmedov was supposed to be undefeated. He's an undefeated super middleweight.
We know him, don't we? Yeah, we've heard of him before. He's pretty good. I know him.
Brian Sabalo versus Bakhtar Ayubov, 8 rounds welterweights. We've heard.
We know Ayubov, yeah.
Conwell versus Courtney Pennington, 10 rounds junior middleweights. Titletown stealing the show, boy. They can't even put on a card without putting somebody from Titletown on there. And then they got, let's see, another 10-rounder, Israel Madamov versus Norberto Gonzalez. Those are junior middleweights. So, yeah. I mean, it's a good, it's not, I guess it's not bad. It's not too bad. It's not like crazy good, but it's not overly bad. But
this is for Golovkin to show his fighters off.
Yeah, Golovkin and Lou DiBella. I think Golovkin's promoting the card, but I think there's a lot of DiBella fighters on there. I'm gathering.
Yeah. And that's cool. That's cool.
I like that. He does, you know what? Lou DiBella does a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where you'll see him fill in cards. He's good with getting his fighters fights.
People criticize him, but he tries to get his fighters as many fights as they can and get them as much exposure as he can.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been doing too much work with the PBC anymore. Doesn't seem like he's involved with Deontay Wilder anymore.
Yeah, I don't think he is. I don't know.
It's kind of funny because I think he really likes DAZN, and the PBC doesn't really like DAZN, so maybe that could be a conflict of interest because he was the one that urged Wilder to go talk to DAZN, Yeah. And maybe because that fell out, maybe there's some friction between the two now. I don't know.
What was the deal he had with DAZN, or the rumored deal?
It's supposed to be $100 million, 20, 40, like a 3-fight deal. So 20 for Brazil, 40 for Joshua, and the rematch 40, I guess.
Yeah, right, man. That's crazy. That's crazy money.
We'll see. Supposedly he got a lot of money for the Brazil fight. Showtime ended up paying him a lot of money for the Brazil fight. So we'll see.
What do we hear? It was around 10 or 15?
I heard it was like 10. Someone said it was 20. I don't know.
It wasn't 20. There ain't no way it was 20.
That's what someone said. There was that guy there. That guy on Twitter that I always talk shit about. He's a writer. He's always dumping on the fighters and stuff. He's like, oh, this guy's this guy's that, and I'm like, buddy, how many rounds have you fought? But I forget his name. But he said it was 20. He said it was 20, but he didn't have a source.
No. You gotta love. That's my thing. Where you have these writers on there, and they all claim, I got it from this source and this source. They won't name the sources. They have no real insight. You know what I'm saying? They don't work in the business. So it's tough to know who to trust, You have, we have our people that we go to as far as sources go and websites that we go to that we think are legit, that are fairly legit. I think they've been proven, But some of these guys out there, they just, claim sources and this and that, and I
look
could
at
claim sources and say that the Joshua Ruiz rematch is already set.
Look what
nonsense.
Look what Rick Glazer just came out with.
Rick Glazer, let me tell you what, Rick Glazer is an absolute moron. All right, and if you think that guy is credible, you're mistaken. This guy put out on Facebook the other day. I don't know if it was a Facebook post. Anyway, somebody sent it to me, and it was from his account or whatever.
It was a Facebook post.
Was it a Facebook? Yeah, it was a Facebook post, which was riddled with grammatical errors, by the way.
He's an idiot, this guy. He gets proven wrong time and time again, and he still continues to put out posts.
Listen, you don't have to be Shakespeare to write, and I've made my share of spelling errors just on the captions at the bottom here, but just completely if you see the post, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, he says that Andy Ruiz is locked into a 3-fight deal with DAZN. He's not DAZN and Eddie Hearn now, and he's not going anywhere. We just heard out of Eddie Hearn's mouth that Andy Ruiz has a rematch clause, and that's it. If he wins or loses, that's it. He can go elsewhere. He's free to do whatever he wants to do. And this guy is claiming almost like he was in the room signing the contract. He has no ties to Matchroom, no ties to Ruiz. He's not in the negotiation process. And people are taking his word for it. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
It's ridiculous.
It really is.
Utterly ridiculous.
Now, you've done a series of videos this week, Beeb. Good work, by the way. You've done really good stuff, good videos. Why don't you talk about it? Talk about the one you did. Talk about the one you did today with the Joshua fans and just in general about this whole topic, because you've really been on top of this.
Well, if you follow the whole thing, okay, Eddie Hearn really hasn't came out and committed. He did an interview today. And he said, I really haven't, and I really don't want to talk about the contract in public. That's what he said during the interview. You heard him say that, correct?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
He said that he didn't really want to, talk about the contract in public and go over it in public. He said he didn't really want to reveal all the details when they were interviewing him on Fight Hub, And he didn't really say much about it. He did say, like I said, that Joshua wanted to come back and do it in the United States. And Eddie Hearn was like, well, why would you want to do that? That's crazy. We would have I don't, and the guy asked you, he said, well, why, do you think Joshua would be at a disadvantage fighting in the United States? And he said, well, I don't know if he'd be at a disadvantage of fighting in the United States, but I know he would have an advantage fighting in the UK. What does that mean? You'd have an advantage fighting in the UK. It's kind of a controversial thing to say, no? Why would you have it?
No, I don't think so.
Why not? Why would
Canelo has an advantage fighting in Vegas versus fighting in Kansas?
But it's controversial because you're kind of indicating that you're going to get preferential treatment in the UK by saying that. Why would you have an advantage?
I don't think so. It's always more comfortable at home.
But again, why is it more comfortable at home for him? Because he has just as much fans come over here and watch him as over there.
Well, and now he's more comfortable for the Red Sox to play at Fenway than it is to play in Seattle.
That's different because the parks are all different sizes. There's a green monster. A ring is a ring.
A ring is a ring, but if you have 50,000 people chanting your name.
Okay,
I think that's a big difference.
But how many weren't they cheering his name in Madison Square Garden? Didn't he have the majority of the fans in Madison Square Garden?
A majority maybe, but not all of them.
You know what I'm saying?
You're looking at 90% of the people in the O2.
Boxing's not like other sports, man. Come on. It's not like other sports. It's different.
No, well, in a
It's
sense,
different.
yeah.
There's really no home court advantage in boxing. There's
You don't think so? Then why
No.
does Floyd? Why did Floyd fight all his fights in Las Vegas?
Because it's fucking 10 minutes from his house.
Isn't that an advantage?
It's convenient for him.
Isn't that an advantage?
You know why it's an advantage is because he gets the referee on his side. I mean,
right. That's an advantage, right?
Okay, but is that the advantage that is that a fair advantage? Is what I'm saying.
It is what it is. I mean, no, I don't think it is.
You have to look at the perception of that statement. We have an advantage in the UK. Why? That's a controversial statement. Why? Because
I don't think it's controversial at all. I mean,
why not? Why not? Because you have it
from the UK.
You're dealing with the British board instead of an American commission. The rules are different. Okay. He's already gotten preferential treatment over there. Okay, fights that he was clearly behind in, he was ahead in.
Well, doesn't Deontay Wilder get preferential treatment if that's the case too?
Yes, he does.
Well, there you go. Then what's so controversial about the statement?
Because he's admitting he's going to get preferential treatment over in the UK as opposed to in the United States.
Okay, well, first of all, he didn't admit anything. He didn't admit that he's getting preferential treatment.
Not admitting it, but he's implying it. It could be you could take that away from it. If a ring is the same size everywhere, it's not like the Green Monster. It's not like parks. It's not like courts are different. Like the Garden or the TD North Center has parquet floor. Different setups everywhere. That it's different. In boxing, the ring is the same.
Okay, well let's take hockey for example. Wouldn't the Bruins have a home court advantage if they played in Boston versus San Antonio?
Yes.
Rink's the same size?
Yes, but you know why?
Why?
Because the rink is different. They're not all the same. And here's another thing you're failing to miss. If you're from Boston and the Boston team is practicing and playing on that ice all the time. It's not like boxing where you're fighting once or twice a year. So it's like how do you get acclimated to something? Like how could something really be an advantage if you're only like fighting once or twice a year?
The rinks are different?
They're a little different, yeah.
I thought they were all measured the same.
They're a little different though. They're different. The boards and stuff, the glass. All hockey rinks aren't the same. They're all different.
Similar. We're talking about the same sizes and everything. But yeah, I don't think that's a controversial statement though, saying that he has an advantage in the UK.
I do because it's almost saying like we can't win on the road.
That's not what, I don't think that's what he's saying at all. He just says it's an advantage.
He's not saying it, but you could take that away from it. Like we have it. Why would he have an advantage?
Could I infer that? Yeah, I guess I could.
Why would he have an advantage in the UK?
But don't you think that's twisting his words though?
No. I'm just saying what I take away from it. Why would he have an advantage in the UK? Explain to me why. If the ring is the same size. Why?
Again, who knows how close it is to his house? Obviously, it's in his home country. He's comfortable there. Listen, everybody's more comfortable at home than abroad.
Well, Deontay Wilder doesn't fight at home. He fights in New York. That's not his home.
That's pretty much his home anymore. That's his home. That's his home place. Barclays is his home court.
How is fighting in Madison Square Garden any different than... It should be easier for him because he's fighting in front of less people.
What are you talking about? Who, Joshua?
Yeah. I can understand.
Not necessarily. Look at Frampton. Look at Carl Frampton when he came over and fought Cobrita's son. He came over here and fought his son and got dropped twice, got everything he wanted on a fight. He really should have... Listen, man, the jitters are real. Jitters are real. It's kind of like the UFC. You can go out there and have a 20-fight win streak in another organization. You come to the UFC and you get in the cage, it's a different animal. The jitters are for real, man. Okay,
so you don't think that like makes them look weak? The big bad, he's supposed to be the best fighter in the division. And he needs a home court advantage to win.
I don't think it makes him look any weaker than it makes Floyd look any weaker. than it makes Canelo look any weaker. I don't think it makes him look
I agree.
any weaker.
I agree.
I don't like it. I'll tell you this. I don't like it.
I agree.
You know,
Just
I hope the rematch takes place here. I think the rematch should take place here.
Do you remember the Super 6?
Yeah.
The Super 6, Super Middleweight tournament, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember what Andre Ward said?
I don't.
When he got all the fights on, he got all his fights. He got all his fights in
Arco, wasn't it?
In the Oracle Arena.
Oracle.
And he kind of talked about it, right? What did everyone say? What was the perception of that?
That it was home field advantage, basically.
Yeah, it's like you have an unfair advantage over everyone else because you got all your fights there and everyone else had to fight on the road and win, right? That people criticize him for that.
Yeah.
I had a UK person comment on one of my videos say that basically if this fight's in the UK, it's going to make it look like Joshua needs to fight in the UK to win, and he can't fight and he can't win outside of the UK. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. It's a bad look if you're saying to yourself, I need an advantage over this guy. I need a home court advantage over this guy. Instead of saying I'm better than this guy, I can beat him anywhere, and you're telling the public that I need my fighter, who's supposedly the best heavyweight in the world, he needs to go. It's like asking for a catch weight.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I
agree.
That's
what I think. So how is it an advantage if he fights in the UK? So basically, just because he's home and everything, it's the comforts of home, and he's used to fighting there, and he's not used to fighting over anywhere else. Okay.
I mean, look, he's got, like I said, again, you have the comfort of home, you have the advantages of home or whatever, this and that. But you also have, like I said, the commission. You also have, hey, you probably get your choice of refs over there because you're the heavyweight champion. A lot more stuff over there than you do over here. And I mean, not that he wouldn't have his choice of refs over here. I believe he probably would. But he just knows those refs better. He knows, when they get the judges. Same way. This is no different. This is not controversial at all because it's no different than Canelo, and it's no different.
I'm not saying it's controversial per se. I'm just saying it's a statement that makes you think. Like, I hear that statement and I'm sitting there saying to myself, well, why do you need a home court advantage to win? Isn't your fighter good enough to go back to New York? Because he was good enough, supposedly he was good enough to fight there. He was perceived as a 20-1 favorite to fight there in the first place, right?
Right.
You have to follow me here now.
No, I got you. I know.
Follow me here now.
Yeah.
He's a 20-1 favorite, right? And he was supposed to come there, make his debut and make a splash, right? This was supposed to be a showcase, right?
He made a splash, all right.
So he loses. This was supposed to be a gimme fight. So he loses. So now you're telling the fighter, oh, well, you lost. Forget about fighting in America right now. Let's go back to the comforts of the UK. And again, home court advantage also. You're smarter than this. You know. What does the term home cooking mean, Eric? How many times do we hear that in the sport of boxing?
Oh, it means the judges are in your pocket.
Okay. So when someone says we have an advantage if the fight's in the UK, you don't think the word home cooking doesn't enter your mind at all?
Well, sure it does.
Okay, then. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, in other words, you're the best heavyweight in the world. You're supposed to be the top guy in the division, but you need this. You need this. You need the home cooking. You need the advantage.
All right. So if you're Anthony Joshua's promoter, what do you do?
I fight him in America because there's more. Number one. America.
So you want to risk that?
No, I have to rebuild him.
So you fight him in the UK?
I can't rebuild him in the UK. I have to rebuild his reputation. First of all, where is there more money in the fight?
That I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
You have to be able to tell me that because you can do it. You can do math. Where is there more money? Where is there more money in the fight? Eddie Hearn told you where there was more money in the fight.
He said it was in America?
It's common sense.
Well, it's not common sense. Is that what he said?
Yes. There's more money in America. That's why all the Matchroom fighters have been brought over here to fight. Why? Because there's more money over here. How much is a gate at the Madison Square Garden? We've already been over this. We've done the math. The empirical data is there. 16,500. Right? Golovkin, Canelo. Right?
Right.
These ticket prices at the Madison Square Garden were identical to the prices of that Canelo Golovkin fight. What did that gate do? 27,000. Identical prices to Canelo Golovkin. But now you have 20,000 seats. I mean, let's do the math. Canelo Golovkin did a 27 million gate. What did Klitschko and Joshua do in front of 90,000? Did 11,500,000. We've already been over this. There's more money.
The math is kind of immaterial, though. I'll be honest with you, because right now, I'm going to tell you why. The math is immaterial right now because the only thing that matters
is subscriptions.
If I'm a promoter, the only thing that matters is getting the belt back, because that means I have control. I have my control back. The belts.
What did Eddie Hearn say? Anthony Joshua said in that interview. What did he say? Said the same thing I said. What did Anthony Joshua say in that interview? What did Eddie Hearn say Anthony Joshua said in that interview?
Joshua said, Eddie Hearn, you talk about the Fight Hub interview, Anthony Joshua said that he says maybe, not we will.
Oh, he said we should. He said we should.
Said we should. Maybe. He said maybe.
We should. No, that's not what he said.
He said maybe we should.
He said we should
have the fight in America, have the fight back at MSG or whatever.
Let's go read the title of the video, because they quoted him in the video. Let's read it. Actually, I sent it to Chikal. I didn't send it to you because you already saw it. This is the title of the video. Eddie Hearn responds to Ruiz Jr.'s $50 million rematch demand. Reveals Joshua wants rematch in the U.S. Mm-hmm. Joshua wants to fight back in New York. Why did he want to fight back in New York? Because he said, I listened to the interview. He said, I want to go back to New York because that's where I lost.
Replay the interview. Because I could have swore he said maybe we should have the fight in New York.
No, he wants to have it in New York. This is what he said. I don't want to get copyright, but I'll play it. I'll play it to you afterwards. He said, okay, I lost in New York. Okay, so why not come back and correct the wrongs and prove that I can win in New York, basically.
Yeah.
It's a bad look.
Roundabout what he said. That's roundabout what he said, yeah.
So again, if he goes back to the UK, it's going to be for less money. It's going to be, DAZN is going to pay more money. DAZN wants to fight in America.
I think DAZN does want to fight in America.
Why does DAZN want to fight in America?
Well, to build the American market. They don't have a.
But why do they want to build the American market?
Because it's
the largest.
What I'm building in China is as
money. It's the largest market. It's the most financially beneficial market. That's why. I mean, it's not really hard to figure this out. This is where the money is.
But I think you're being unfair in saying that Hearn wants to. What did you say, that Hearn's afraid to have it, or there's home cooking involved, or whatever, or that it's a bad. Listen,
it's a bad look.
But you don't say that. But you don't say that about Canelo. You don't say that about Floyd.
I don't want. I've said it several times. I don't want to see Golovkin go back to Vegas to fight him. I just said I wanted to fight in Madison Square Gardens. I just told you. And I already knew, like Floyd, to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't like that he fought in Vegas all the time too, but to be honest with you, he was beating guys like 11-1, 10-2. So I knew, like, he never had any controversial fights in Vegas. The only thing controversial about Floyd fighting in Vegas was how Kenny Bayless would break, but Kenny Bayless could ref any of his fights, so it doesn't matter. I don't think Floyd got an advantage fighting in Vegas.
Or what about Deontay Wilder? What about Deontay Wilder fighting in New York? Who did you have ahead on that Ortiz fight?
He got preferential treatment.
100% he got preferential treatment.
I agree,
but I don't hear anybody saying I don't want to see him fight in New York.
Well, The Fury fight was in California. It was at the Staples.
Right.
And he still got and Fury still got robbed.
He sure did. Yeah,
So how does that happen? I agree with you. I can't argue against Canelo getting a preferential treatment in Vegas. But this is why. So you want the stage to be set where Ortiz can get fucking robbed in fucking the UK? I don't want that. I just don't want that.
No, I don't think. No, and I've already said I wanted the fight here, not there. I think the fight is better here.
But my question is this: it makes your fighter look weak when you say we have the advantage in the UK. It's like we need to fight in the UK because we're basically we need. This guy fought a guy he was supposed to blow away.
Yeah.
Okay? He was supposed to destroy this guy. Okay? And he got knocked out. Again, you were supposed to come here and you become a crossover star. This was your introduction to the American people. You went on all these American shows. You were doing all this promotion in New York. The Zone had all this thing going on. Now you lost. So now you go right back to the UK and say, fuck it, I can't win over here. That's a bad look. Even he said it's a bad look. He himself admitted it in the interview. Eddie Hearn said he wants to come back here and right the wrong. He said, I'm not champion anymore. I got to come back and do the job I started. Even people in the UK are agreeing with me with this. Even Joshua fans are coming around and saying, B, I agree with you. This fight should be in the US. It makes them look bad, Eric.
Tony Bracamontes in the chat just said every team or athlete has an advantage at home. He does.
I agree.
100% agree.
But not in boxing as much. Boxing, home court advantage probably means the least in terms of the fight itself. Where it comes into play is the judges and the refs. Can I tell you who really has an advantage in the fight? The fighter who has the fighter with the lead promoter. The guy that it doesn't really matter the location, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah,
because I'll explain to you why. One of those judges had fucking Anthony Joshua up by a point at the time of that stoppage, and the other two had Ruiz only up by a point.
Right.
Now, what was your scorecard like?
I had given Joshua, I think, 1 round.
I gave him 1 round too. Yeah. So why did that happen? Who was the lead promoter?
Yep. The Zone.
So home court advantage doesn't really mean that much in boxing. In my opinion, it's who the lead promoter is. The A side has the advantage. The guy that brings in the money. The guy that brings in the money.
He's the money guy.
So he already has the advantage of having the promoter, being the house fighter because of the promoter. So now he needs the advantage of going to the UK too. You see what I'm saying? It's a bad look, Eric. Yeah. You need all the stars to align up your way for you to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to be the best. That's the thing.
I don't, I said, man, I
just makes
still go back and you and I are just going to agree to disagree here. I don't think it's a bad look per se. I think, if he goes back to, if he has the fight in the UK, it is what it is. I don't like the fight in the UK. I might like it much better here, but I don't begrudge them. And,
so if he goes
Hearn
back
said,
to the
hey, we're coming over here. We gave you the title shot over here. Now it's only fair that you go back over here to give us our chance at the title too.
Yeah, but they chose to come over here. They weren't asked to come over here. It's not like they did Ruiz any favors by coming there.
No, they chose Ruiz.
Okay. And he accepted.
So they did him a favor, right?
But did Ruiz do them a
favor? Yeah.
But did Ruiz do him? But did Ruiz do them a favor? Because everyone else was saying no. Did he save the show?
No.
He did? Oh,
no.
So why?
You don't think anybody would have stepped up if Ruiz didn't step up?
No. I thought
to fight for the heavyweight title.
You know what would have happened,
dude?
This is what would have happened. They would have had to have postponed because
I don't know about
that. Because he took it right away. Everyone else was debating on it. Okay, everyone else was debating on it. Still had to be agreed upon. And the more time that elapsed. So a guy's going to take a fight on 4 weeks' notice, 3 weeks' notice. Ruiz took the fight on 5 weeks' notice. Okay, if he didn't take it when he took it, then the window would have been smaller. They would have had to postpone the event, maybe canceled it.
Maybe.
Why did he? But what, there was
don't know. I don't know who was. You know what? I don't know who.
So they don't know Ruiz anything.
I don't know who they were looking at.
So
we don't know who they were looking at. So we can speculate.
Yeah, we do. We know they were looking at Michael Hunter.
Yeah, Michael Hunter. Why couldn't Michael Hunter take it? He wasn't chosen. They chose Ruiz.
But again, they were looking at Ortiz. They were looking at Hunter. Hunter still had to agree to the deal. What if he? You know what I'm saying? Like Ruiz just.
We don't even know that Hunter was offered the deal. We know they were looking at him.
He wasn't even made
he was offered a deal.
Hearn said they didn't even make him an offer
because Ortiz took it. Or Ruiz took it.
They only made two people. They only made two offers to Ortiz and Ruiz.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, you don't think Ruiz did them a favor by saving the show? He stepped up when no one else would.
They gave him an opportunity.
What did Eddie Hearn? What would quote unquote by Anthony Joshua himself? Quote unquote Eddie Hearn himself. During the press conference, what did Anthony Joshua say? I really thank and appreciate Andy Ruiz for stepping up to the challenge when no one else would.
Well, what's he supposed to say?
Why would he say that though?
Why would he not?
Because the show could have been scrapped, Eric, if he didn't take the fight.
It's a press conference.
Doesn't matter.
To hype the fight.
You're giving the guy no credit. He helped save the show.
Who am I not giving credit to?
Andy Ruiz for taking the fights. He helped save. He did them a favor too. You're not acknowledging that.
Yeah, look, he did them a favor.
He saved the show.
He did not save the show.
Why not?
Because they could have gave it to Michael Hunter. They could have gave it to other people. They gave him an opportunity, and he took it and ran with it.
Who else was there? Michael Hunter and him. Who else?
Ortiz was there.
Ortiz said no.
Ortiz also said that he didn't know what he was talking about.
But he said no. Michael Hunter?
No, his people said no.
Whatever.
That's a big difference, right? Especially since he doesn't speak English.
Well, who negotiates the fight for the fighter? Who negotiates the fight?
It wasn't him. The promoters.
He put it in his promoter's hand to negotiate the fight for him.
And he screwed up.
Why didn't he? So
Manuel Char was the other one. That's right. Manuel Char was the other one that they were looking at.
Okay, so what I'm saying is,
Ruiz. Ruiz stepped up.
Those guys.
There's no question about that.
Those guys still would have had to agree to a deal.
Right. Ruiz stepped up. And yeah, I will acknowledge that. Ruiz stepped up and he took the fight. Okay.
A lot of guys were Eddie Hearn said this.
There's a handful of guys though, but
this is what Eddie Hearn said.
Eddie Hearn said what?
This is what Eddie Hearn said. He was talking to a lot of people, right?
Right.
This is what he said. I was talking to a lot of people, and a lot of guys were just pricing themselves out. So I said to myself, these guys don't really want the fight. They're blowing smoke. Andy Ruiz sat down, took the fucking fight for whatever they offered him. That's the fucking difference. He saved the show. Those other guys were trying to price themselves out. Eddie Hearn said this. Yeah, that's why they were so thankful to Ruiz. Oh, he was the only, we give him a lot of credit. He was the only one that stepped up. A lot of guys said they wanted the fight, but they weren't serious because they kept pricing themselves out. Quote unquote, I listened to everything.
Joe.
I listened to everything.
Joe, did you ever think, like, when you're at a press conference, what is the whole point of the press conference? To hype up a fight.
I understand that.
What do you think? They're going to go in there and say, we really didn't want Andy Ruiz here, but he's the one that accepted first, and we didn't know if the window was here.
So they're just making up that that everyone priced themselves out when they made offers. Then
maybe, I don't know.
So they were lying when they said that. Then
they lie about a lot. I'm sure they're hyping. It's a lot of hyperbole when you talk about.
But how much hype would that have given the fight? Like, no one fucking gave the guy a chance, regardless.
How much hype would have given the fight if they came out and said what?
So they needed to say that to make the fight bigger.
Of course they're going to sound gracious. He took the fight.
Eric.
Everybody who signs. Did you ever?
Eric,
Every press conference you go to, Triple G thanks Steve Rolls today.
When a show falls apart, Eric, when a show falls apart, it's very hard to find a replacement. It's not easy.
Agreed.
This was not an easy process. Ruiz made it easy because he came in, he took what was offered, he didn't bullshit around. They couldn't have a fucking smooth transition with these other guys because they said everyone was pricing themselves out.
Ruiz wasn't even on the table until he messaged them via what, Instagram or something like that?
Okay, but why did these other guys not get it? He said because they were pricing themselves out. I'm not saying they didn't help out Ruiz, but he helped them out too.
Okay, it's a mutual help out. That's fine. So, but why does that make it any less that they get?
Because everyone's saying, "Oh, they did Ruiz the favor. They did this. They did that." Like Ruiz did, and Ruiz didn't help them by saving the show. They had so much money invested in this show, right?
Let me tell you what. If Ruiz said no, there still would have been an event that night.
Really?
Yeah.
We said yes with 5 weeks left.
Yeah.
So Ruiz says no. Then that 5 weeks turns into 4 weeks. Who the fuck takes a fight on 4 weeks' notice? 3 weeks' notice. It would have been harder, Eric. It would have been harder.
And yes, he did them a favor. I will grant you that. He did them a favor by taking the fight when he did. I'll give you that. But you can't acknowledge that they didn't do him a favor by choosing him.
I didn't say they didn't do him a favor. I'm saying he did them a favor as well. Everyone's saying like...
But I think what you're doing... But I got to be honest, man. I got to be honest here.
Yeah,
What you're doing... What I feel like you're doing is no matter what Eddie Hearn's camp does and the Anthony Joshua camp does, in your eyes will be wrong.
No, they were right when they were right when they offered Ortiz $7 million.
That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like because you talk about the home field advantage, you talk about this, you talk about that. I feel like any decision they make in your eyes will go south.
True. That's not true because what did I say when they made Ortiz the offer? What did I say about that?
When you made Ortiz the offer, what?
He made Ortiz the offer for $7 million. What did I say? Ortiz should have. You don't remember?
Well, what did you say? It's your words, not mine.
You don't remember what I said? We did the show on it.
I know we did the show on it, but again, it's your words, not mine. So tell me what you said.
So you didn't hear me say that I thought Ortiz fucked up and he should have taken the $7 million. And I agree with Hearn on this.
Yeah.
You heard me say that, right?
Absolutely. We both said it. We both said he screwed up.
Okay. Didn't I also say that Deontay Wilder, when they were in New York, they should have at least sat down with Hearn? I didn't say that. I didn't side with Hearn on that either.
You did?
Okay. So what I'm saying here is, even UK fans are saying this. You're trying to make this guy a name in the United States. Okay? This guy was supposed to be head and shoulders above everybody else. Okay? When you're the best heavyweight in the world and you're going to... Why did they come to America in the first place? Why?
Exposure.
They wanted to make him a crossover star, right?
Yeah.
This was the perfect stage to do it. It was the perfect setup. So now he failed at that. So now you scrap the plan entirely. You'll go back to the UK, and now you're just letting everyone know that, you know what? We have to, in order for us to win, we can only win in the UK. That doesn't put that perception out there at all by doing that, no? You don't think that means, you don't think... So even he himself said that. The fighter said pretty much the same thing I'm saying right now. But you don't think it puts that out there?
Listen, there's only one thing that matters for Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn, his promoter. Only thing that he's thinking about is getting the belt back. He could care less how it gets done. Anthony Joshua, different animal. Anthony Joshua, different animal. Eddie Hearn, the only thing he wants back are those 3 belts.
I agree 100%.
That's it.
I agree 100%.
He doesn't care how it gets done. He doesn't care where it gets done in the sense that, whether it's, he wants it done in the UK, that's it. Because he feels he has the best advantage there. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think it makes a difference where Joshua wants this fight. I'll be real honest. It doesn't make one bit of difference.
Do you know in the UK, if you get knocked down and you get up at 9, it's a knockout?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, they got different rules over there. It's like
They
a
got
different,
rules
different
over
kind
there.
of thing.
They get different rules over there.
Mm-hmm.
So the baddest man on the planet can't win anywhere else. But it's a bad look, man. It's a bad look.
Nah,
It makes them look weak. It makes them look weak. They set out to accomplish a goal. They failed at the goal. So you shouldn't go right back and try to complete the goal that you started. So now you're gonna just forget about the United States now and give up on trying to be a crossover star. You're not looking at the long game. You're not looking at the long game.
You're not looking at the long game at all if he gets knocked out again in Madison Square Garden. He's got no long game then. He
goes back to the UK.
He goes back to the UK and wins that fight. He can still rebuild.
And he squeaks out a fucking decision. What are people going to turn around and say?
You know what? It doesn't matter.
It does matter, Eric.
Because he's got the 4 belts back.
No one cares about those 4 belts, Eric. Boxing fans don't give a fuck about those 4 belts.
Who doesn't?
The boxing fans don't give a fuck about those 4 belts.
I would agree with that. I would 100% agree with that.
Who's buying the fucking tickets? The boxing fans.
You don't think he's going to sell out O2 if he goes there?
Doesn't matter.
What do you mean?
Where's he going to make?
Of course it matters.
That means zero.
If you're talking from a promoter
stance.
We're talking from a fan stance right now.
Okay, well, let's talk about a promoter stance. What is the fucking live gate at Wembley compared to the live gate at Madison Square Gardens? Where's there more money? Where's there more money? You know where there's more money.
Listen,
if you say I don't know, you're being dishonest.
Is that the cognitive dissonance you were talking about?
Yeah, that's the cognitive dissonance. As a promoter, you're supposed to make the biggest show. You're supposed to make the most profit on your show. DAZN is a partner of Eddie Hearn. Why do they want it back in New York? Why?
Well, Brackamanis just brought up a good point. Money's coming from the TV, not the gate. He's right. You get very little from the gate. You know this.
Where does the money from the gate go? Who gets that? Fighters get a portion of that.
Fighters get a portion of it, yeah.
Promoter gets a portion of that.
They also get a big cut of the TV, right?
DAZN's putting the money up for this.
Right. They also get a big cut for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So why does DAZN want it in the United States?
I think, like I said, to expand their base.
Why do they want to expand their base?
We guys, come on! Don't ask me like rhetorical questions.
The word is money, Eric.
Yes.
They wouldn't want to expand their base here if it didn't involve money. Why aren't they in the UK? Why aren't they in the UK?
Who?
DAZN. Why? Why did they come here instead of the UK? Why?
They fight in the UK. What are you talking about? They have cards in the UK.
Why is DAZN available here and not in the UK?
Isn't it Sky? There's a thing with Sky and the other one.
They could have went.
They can.
They're based. DAZN is based in the UK. They're out of London. That's where their home office is.
Yeah, right.
Why did they?
What I'm saying is, isn't there a television conflict with Sky, and that's why they can't? That's what I thought, anyway.
They can go over there if they want. Adam Smith said he was asked, "What happens if DAZN comes over here?"
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "What's going to happen?" He goes, "Well, I'm not." That's not something I'd be looking forward to, quote unquote. And asked, "Why are all the UK fighters going over to the United States?" Adam Smith, quote unquote. Well, to be honest, we can't compete with DAZN on a financial level. We can't compete with them. That's why the fights are over there. Eddie Hearn, quote unquote. Why are all the fights? Why are all the fights in the U.S. right now? Why are all the UK fighters going to the U.S.? Why? Because that's where the money is. It all boils down to money, Eric. Fuck the belts. Fuck all this shit. It all boils down to the money.
I would agree with that.
And DAZN DAZN and Eddie Hearn entered a partnership together. They're giving the guy $125 million a year. And you're going to sit there and tell me that they're not going to have an influence on what's going on after giving this guy. They're just going to give this guy $125 million a year, and they're not going to sit down with him and discuss what they want, and they're not going to have an influence on what goes on.
100% never said that.
So
you never said that.
So there's
I
a
never said that
reason.
they don't have an influence. They do have an influence. 100% they do.
But for you to sit there and say that if he goes back to the UK after losing here, it sends the message that I have to go back to the UK to win because I can't win here.
That's your perception.
But but you have to say that
That's
perception.
your perception.
But that is a perception that is out there.
Well, so
you
what?
can't like. So you're saying that doesn't send that message. You're saying that doesn't that you're not getting that from that? Like that doesn't look. That's not what it looks like, though.
Again, it's no different. I'll say it again. It's no different than Canelo in Vegas. No different than Floyd in Vegas. It's no different than the San Diego Chargers or wherever they're at. LA Chargers playing in LA versus Cincinnati.
So the whataboutisms.
Yeah,
I
think we all get that. I don't think anybody's disputing that.
So the whataboutisms make it right, then, is what you're saying.
What is one guy? What exactly is my whataboutism?
Well, your whataboutism is, well, if Canelo can do it, why can't he do it? That's what you're saying, virtually.
Pretty much, yeah.
But don't we bitch about when Canelo does it?
Yes.
So why are we not bitching about this?
I think we are. I think we both wanted the fight to take place in Madison Square Garden.
Okay, but that's why it's a bad look if it's in the UK. Because it's the same bullshit. You're going to have people saying, just like they say, oh, the fight's in Vegas, Canelo's going to get the decision again. Oh, the fight's in the UK? Oh, he has to be in the UK because he knows he can't win in the United States. That's a fair assessment. I'm not saying any of this is etched in stone. This is how it has to be. But it is something that people could take away. And this is the perception that could be taken away from this by a lot of people. And a lot of people do take away this perception. It's going to be bad PR for him. It's bad PR for him. And you're downplaying it.
I think it'll be bad PR for him. I think it's bad PR for him in the beginning. If he wins the belts, I don't think anybody cares. And if he wins the belts back by knockout, absolutely zero people will care. If he wins a wide decision, nobody's going to care. If it's a close decision, yeah, that might. But again, if he wins the belts back, nobody's going to care. Nobody cares. Nobody will care.
So no one's going to say he had to go back to the UK in order to win the belts back because he couldn't win it in America. No one's going to say that.
I imagine people will say it, yeah. I imagine some people will say it.
I
don't imagine all people will say it.
You don't think a good portion of people will say that? Because UK people are already saying it now to me. They're already saying this fight should be right back in the United. They're already saying this fight. His own fans are saying this to me. He should go right back to New York. He said it himself. He should go right back to New York.
Mm-hmm. Again.
Why would he be saying that, though?
Why would he be saying we have to go back to New York?
Because
he's a true champion. And that's what, I tell you what, a lot of people have not given him any credit at all. And for all this nonsense about the panic attacks, whatever, what was the other one, the concussion in training, the knockout in training, all this other stuff that came out, he was mugged before the fight. I mean, who knows? All the stories, all the stories that came out.
All they're doing is taking away from Ruiz.
Yeah.
All that does is take away from Ruiz.
That's right. And no one has given Joshua credit for that. No one has said, hey, this guy is a real man. This guy has said, he made a video and he said, I lost, and that was it.
I get it.
I
can never,
so
ever.
Why are people still like piling on him? I don't understand that.
I'll tell you why people are piling on him. You can't criticize this guy one iota as a human being. He seems like a really nice guy. Seems like a great person. Seems like a great family man. I've never disrespected the guy. I've questioned things, but I've never insulted this guy ever in my life.
No.
But here's the problem, Eric. And this is a big problem. This is a huge fucking problem. And I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not, whether you do or not. This is a huge problem. When you're the heavyweight fucking champion of the world, okay, and your own promoter says after you lost, he looked relieved that he lost. What the fuck does that ever... When have you ever heard in your life someone fucking losing the heavyweight championship of the world? When have you ever heard the word said, he looked relieved after it? That's a problem. That makes me think that no matter what he does say, he doesn't really want it. When have you ever saw and again, this could mean nothing, but to me, this is a sign. I have never in my life, and again, I've said this before, when have you ever seen a heavyweight champion at a press conference hand his belts to somebody else and say, you hold my belts for me? There was a meme out there when Canelo, remember when Floyd was trying to get Canelo to hold the belt?
Mm-hmm.
They made a meme. They said, I don't want to hold the belt. I want to earn it. I don't want to hold it. I want to earn it.
Right.
And then they had fucking Joshua letting someone hold his fucking belts. I mean, these are all. This is not what a heavyweight champion does.
Right.
I'm just being.
Okay. Well,
this is not what a heavyweight champion does.
Lewis,
yes.
When Mike Tyson hugged him at the end and was wiping blood off his face during the interview.
After the fight, yes.
After the fight.
Yes.
That's not really how champions act either. You know,
listen,
when you take a loss like that, you don't know what goes through your head. You know what I mean? I mean, you're on top of the mountain in 1 minute, next minute you're not so much. You know what I mean? You don't know what goes on through his head. And not to mention, I mean, clearly he was concussed in that fight. You know, I'm sure he got a concussion somewhere along the lines. Who knows again, he's knocked out. You don't know what he's thinking. You don't know what goes through his head. So I don't, listen, everything going into that, I get you. Like I said, him handing him the belts at the press conference. Yeah, that's not, that's pretty unusual. The, whatchamacallit, the thing afterwards and stuff like that, him looking relieved and stuff like that, because we all agreed he did look relieved. I mean, he did look almost borderline giddy after the fight. We don't know what goes on through his head. We don't know what kind of person he is either. I mean, we only know his persona from, his interviews and everything like that. He seems like a very likable guy. He seems like a very nice guy.
I agree. I agree.
And it was a very gentlemanly thing to do. I mean, he acted very gentlemanly after the fight. He's still acting very gentlemanly after the fight, saying maybe we should come here and have it in his hometown since he is the champ now and this and that, But again, man, we don't, whatever Hearn says, Hearn was in shock too. I mean, let's not let that go. Listen, we were all in shock. Nobody called this. I mean, we were all in shock.
But this guy was smiling and laughing, and he's happy.
Yeah.
Who is that? Have you ever seen anyone that happy after a loss?
No.
There's something wrong, Eric.
Not after a knockout loss.
I have to question whether this guy wants it. Do you question?
4 times,
do you question that?
No, he got up 4 times. He got up. He got up 4 times off the canvas.
Okay.
Said he wanted to continue the fight. A lot of people said he quit. There's no way you don't get off the canvas 4 times.
Even the announcers during the fight said he quit. Everyone said 99% of the people that saw that fight, they said he quit. I think
that's nonsense.
I think
people that have never been hit in the face in their life. So,
but everyone's that's the general perception out there.
I think it's nonsense.
And you know what? Doesn't mean that you have to believe that. You can believe whatever you want. And I told you he didn't quit.
No,
I said he didn't quit. I think his body language gave the impression that he did not want to continue. But I think in his mind he wanted to continue. Instinctively, this is why he's a real fighter. Instinctively, he wanted to fight.
Yeah.
But his body shut down on him. Go back and watch. I was watching Teddy Atlas, his podcast, and they showed it. And this is what happened. You have to go back and watch this closely. And I was watching the fight. And when you watch the fight on DAZN, the replay, they go in the corner and you can hear everything he was saying when that fight was going on. And at the end of that fight, the referee told him to come forward. He came forward, and then he went right back into the ropes and leaned back into the ropes and grabbed the ropes. But even before the referee waved that fight off,
he was unsteady.
But when he came forward and then he went back and leaned back, even before the referee waved it off, Andrew Ruiz jumped up in the air. Yeah. You know why? Because he knew the body language told him that he couldn't continue. He didn't want to fight anymore.
Right.
But that was so. That's what people mean that he quit. I think quit is a strong word. I would never use that word. I mean, if you can't continue, you can't continue. I don't think someone should be embarrassed because they can't continue, because we all have breaking points, and at some point we would all break down under duress.
Do you think that he could not continue and he knew he couldn't continue?
To be honest with you, I don't think it would have been smart for him to continue in the state that he was in. But I've seen fighters continue when they weren't in the state to continue. And luckily, the referee saved him from himself. To be perfectly honest with you, the whole conversation, in my opinion, is a futile conversation. And I'll explain why. Because the question shouldn't be, if anyone had, a reasonable person who's compassionate about human life, right? It's not a question of did he quit. It's a question of should he have been allowed to continue, and should he have continued. My answer to that question is, if he went back out there, he would have been seriously hurt, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
He would have been seriously hurt. To ask someone to go out there in such a compromised state, in my opinion, is really callous. That's why I don't appreciate people saying he quit. But he was basically beat into submission. But can I ask you a question? Here's another question.
Sure.
And this is irrelevant. It means nothing, because this doesn't make anyone any more of a man than anyone else. If that was Antonio Margarito, would the fight probably have continued, you think?
No.
It's a big if.
It's a big if, because I'll tell you why.
Do you think Antonio Margarito would have laid back and went, like, he probably would have came out and tried to fight. In other words, Antonio Margarito, if that fight, like, he would have fought the referee to continue. In other words,
I think if you watch it, I don't think he was in any condition to continue, and I think the referee.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't in any condition.
And he's got his arms on the ropes, like you said. He went back. His arms are on the ropes because he can't stand.
And this is the problem. This is how people make these false. This is what people make these false equivalencies. They'll take a fighter like Antonio Margarito. Remember, we've talked about this several times. The guy's eye was hanging off, right?
Yeah.
There's no way that fight should have been. Can we agree that fight should have been stopped?
Very much so. Yeah.
Okay.
You're talking about the Pacquiao fight, yeah?
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The corner. This is where I have a problem with Robert Garcia. Why didn't you stop the fight, Robert? Oh, if I stopped that fight, he would have killed me. That's not a good answer.
That's not a good answer at all.
So some of these
cost that guy a lot. You may have cost that guy his eyesight.
He did because he had to go get a artificial lens.
Right.
So the problem is, people see these fighters who have no regard for their own safety, who put their life, like, there's no moral victories in here. So you don't get extra points by losing by decision or losing by KO. It looks better on the record, granted, but sometimes it's better, we said this several times, it's better to get knocked out and live to fight another day than go on and take a sustained beating for the course of the 12-round fight. We already know that.
Right.
So people, the bloodthirsty creatures that we are, we want to see a guy beaten to a pulp before the fight ends, instead of stopping it from getting to that point. And that's what people wanted in this Joshua fight. So he was in no condition to continue, and his body language suggested that he didn't want to continue. But I think subconsciously he wanted to continue in his mind, but his body the body language. In other words, he was so beaten up, that he was so tired and beaten up and fatigued from what he was dealing with, that he went back and went into the ropes. So his body just shut down on him. And it looked like you could say that he resigned in there because of the body language, and a lot of people said that immediately. What was the first thing the announcer said? I don't think Joshua wants to continue. But even if that was the case, he was in no condition to continue anyways.
Right.
So whether he wanted to or not, this is what I'm saying. People try to go out of it. This is why I can tell you that I'm not trying to find things wrong, because if I wanted to try to find things wrong, I could say he quit, but I'm not, because at the end of the day, what the fuck difference does it make if he quit or not? he was in no condition to fucking continue.
Right.
So just so he could prove to you motherfuckers out there that he's got big balls, you want him to fucking put himself in a coma. What if he continued and he went into fucking, God forbid, he went into a coma? Would your motherfuckers have been happy? And this is no disrespect to Deontay Wilder, but that's why the remarks at the end of the fight were distasteful, in my opinion.
Deontay Wilder showed zero class.
That's my whole thing.
Remarks that he said after the fight.
That's my whole thing.
He showed absolutely 100% zero class. And he wonders why he's not more popular. There you go.
So that's it. But I mean, we can agree or disagree on the other topic. I mean, there's no sense in going back and forth in it. Sure. You have your stance. I have my stance.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna try and change your opinion. If that's what you believe, if you're thinking that at the end of the day they got to make him champion again or nothing else matters, I get that point. My point is this: you can make him champion again, but you have to build the perception up to it, because for the longest time people were blaming him, and this to be honest with you, the reason, like, they had in the beginning when this whole thing started, they had a very nonchalant attitude about the Deontay Wilder fight. We don't need this fight. He needs us more than we need him. Right. Blah 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 blah. But the thing is this, Eric. This is why I'm talking about perception of the public. This is why it's so important. Because over the course of a year's time, everywhere he went, everywhere Eddie Hearn went, they were getting drilled with Deontay Wilder questions. And a lot of people were making them out to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Particularly in the United States. So it was making them look like the people that didn't want the fight. And if you're a fighter and you're being labeled as, people are calling them a ducker, people are calling them this and that, after a while, that wears on your psyche. It just does. And after a while, Eddie Hearn was starting to say, you know what, maybe this fight, and he did say this, maybe this fight is big. Maybe I was wrong about Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, this fight became big because of the public, because of the pressure from the public, because of the demand from the public. So in order for this fight to be what it is again, these two guys have to be built up to be larger than life again. So you have to erase any invulnerability. These guys are going to be invulnerable because they have defensive liabilities. We know that. So there's going to be vulnerability in the ring. But if there's vulnerability of the perception of who these guys are supposed to be Superman. These guys are the heavyweight champions of the world. These guys are supposed to be larger than life. These guys are supposed to be able to do everything and anything that none of us could do and only we could dream to do. So if they show weakness in any way, then when they sit down at the negotiating table with Deontay Wilder, it's not going to be beneficial to them. That's my whole thing.
Well, I tell you what, either way, if they go to the negotiating table now with Wilder, I think Wilder has a lot of leverage now. I think that I would venture to say he is now the A side.
They won't admit to that because they'll still throw the stadium shit out there.
Well, sure they will. But in my eyes, man, listen, I think we have two top heavyweights now, not three. We have Tyson Fury and we have Deontay Wilder. That's not taking anything away from Andy Ruiz. I just don't know that Andy Ruiz beats either one of those. I tell you this, I think Andy Ruiz can beat anybody in the world. I'll say that now because he just did.
I don't think he beats Wilder though.
I don't think he beat Joshua either.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
I
don't think he beats Fury, but hey, I don't think he beats.
I'm 99.9% sure he doesn't beat Fury.
Yeah.
If he beats Fury,
is the best one out there right now.
If he beats Fury, I'll take a fucking heart attack.
Yeah, I think he's the best one out there right now. But I got Fury number one, Wilder number two. I think Ring Magazine came out with their stuff today, and their rankings or whatever, and they had the same thing. They had Fury at 1, Wilder at 2, and then wherever AJ landed, and wherever Ruiz landed. If Ruiz was not number 3, I don't know who they put at number 3. So there you go. But yeah, man, I think that like I said, man, they're going to announce the rematch. I would imagine within a week or two. I don't think they're going to wait too long.
Yeah, he's saying 2 weeks tops.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because it was just be a couple of days, and now it's a couple of weeks. There's a lot of negotiating left to be done, even though there is a rematch clause.
Well, that's the thing.
You can't just offer Andy Ruiz some peanuts, and he's supposed to just go ahead and take it.
Well, here's the problem, and this is another perception out there. Okay, there's a rematch clause. Could there have been provisions already made ahead of time that certain stipulations have to be in the rematch? Like, could it have been in the rematch that Eddie Hearn will choose the venue? Could he have put that in there?
I think they did, yeah.
Probably did do that, right?
Yeah.
Probably did do that.
According to Dan Raphael, that's the other thing. According to Dan Raphael, Hearn has final say on the site. I guess the location.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
And if that's in the clause, that's in the clause. Whatever. Another thing I'm hearing is the Eddie Ruiz's purse is already determined. That's something else I heard. Whatever. That's fine. But at the end of the day, the points in the contract can be challenged. I mean, they're going to try and challenge some of those points. I mean, whether or not they can or not, that remains to be seen. But at the end of the day, I just don't. I mean, I think the fight's going to be where DAZN wants it, in my opinion. Hearn's going to talk to them. He's going to probably say, I want it in the UK, whatever, and they're going to say, I want it. But I think Hearn will come around, and I don't think Hearn will be totally against putting the fight back in New York again. He was very happy with the success of this show.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely, he should be. It was a good show. I mean, he was on the wrong side of it.
But it's just going to be interesting to see, if what Al Heyman and Ruiz do, if they're going to challenge a lot of things, if they're going to drag this out.
I don't think they're going to drag it out. I think Ruiz wants to fight. I think he wants to fight Joshua again. I think Ruiz, the thing that gets overlooked here is that both Ruiz and Joshua are class guys. They're both champion guys. And they want to fight each other again. He wants to prove this wasn't a fluke, and so does Joshua. Joshua wants to prove it was. They're both willing to fight wherever. I don't think Joshua cares. I don't think, and deep down, I don't think Ruiz cares either. I think Ruiz has his preference. He'd like it here or in Mexico. Listen, Mexico ain't going to happen.
Mexico's not going to happen.
So it's either here or the UK, and I think that DAZN is going to have some say, but Eddie Hearn is going to have the final say. And Matchroom is going to have the final say on where it is. But, Tony Bracamonte says the big question is, will Robbie see the rematch? I can tell you with 100% certainty, if it is on DAZN, he will not see the rematch. I think that's pretty clear.
So what's going to happen, though? Let's just throw a scenario out there.
Yeah.
What if DAZN says, we want this fight in New York? Eddie Hearn says we want it in the UK.
Yeah, listen, hey, DAZN's paying Eddie Hearn, so that fight's going to be in New York.
But here's the thing. I mean, DAZN can't pass on the fight. They'd be idiots if they passed on the fight.
They're not passing on that fight.
They're not going to ever pass on the fight.
No.
But they could turn around and say, okay, well, if you want this fight in the UK, the money's not. We're not going to put up the same amount of money. Like the purses for both fighters are going to be smaller.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that in itself,
that's a power move. Yeah,
that's a power move on their part, and I think that will sway them. Would it be fair to say that would be a good tactic for them in order to sway Eddie Hearn to have the fight where they want to have?
What do they say in business, B? The bottom line speaks the loudest.
That's what I mean. So at the end of
bottom line speaks the loudest, man.
At the end of now, let me ask you this, because you're saying that Eddie Hearn's goal is just to get the belts back, right? So
I think so. And the reason I say that is because he has power in negotiations with the belts.
That's fine, okay. Because he was willing. Because when he originally the $50 million offer thing came out, and the fact that they wanted to fight him in America, he said he admitted the fight was more profitable in America. He said we probably this was a year ago. He said we would probably be leaving $10 million on the table. but we don't care about that, and Joshua doesn't care about that.
Oh, we're not bringing up the $50 million again, are we?
No. But I'm just saying he's already proved in that instance that he would be willing to leave money on the table by fighting in the UK over the US. But that was before. But this was before the DAZN deal.
Gotcha.
So what I'm trying to tell you is, now that the DAZN, I don't want to bring the $50 million up. I'm just saying, during that time frame, when he said, yeah, we could do the fight in the U.S., we know the fight would be bigger in the U.S., but we'd still rather have it in the U.K. So he was willing to leave money on the table there. But now the situation has turned, because now he's got a partner in DAZN. So will DAZN be willing to leave money on the table?
No.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
DAZN, and I'm gonna tell you right now, DAZN will never want to leave money on the table.
So that's what I'm trying to. That's the point I'm trying to make.
They will never want to leave money.
So will the belts? Will getting the belts back supersede that? Is what I'm trying to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, if and again, it just depends on how much pull that, and listen, I think that Matchroom and I think DAZN have a pretty good relationship. And again, it's all speculation on this end for sure.
Sure.
I'm sure they have a pretty good relationship. They're the ones that kind of got this whole thing started in the U.S. and everything and get it going. Yeah, I think that I think for sure, man. I think that nobody's going to want to leave money on the table, but they're gonna work together. They're gonna work together on this, whether it means dropping a little bit or not. I think they're both gonna work together on this. It's not like a ruthless kind of thing, or anything like that.
And here's conspiracy theory number 2. I don't know if you've been following, but again, a lot of people are saying this now. If you hear what Triple G said about Anthony Joshua,
what did he say?
He said Anthony Joshua looked terrible. He said the doping testing is different here in America than in the UK. And I don't know, Jarrell Miller had said too that Anthony Joshua supposedly was getting it.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, you can read that before I finish.
This is if a 9-volt battery, because one of you needs to change the battery in that smoke detector.
Yeah. So basically, it's been said that Anthony Joshua gets a therapeutic use exception for testosterone in the UK, and they're saying that he can't get that here. Dillian White.
That's a pretty big.
It's a strong statement, and I'm not trying to.
I think it's awful ironic that the 3 people that accused Anthony Joshua of PED use were busted for PED use themselves.
Was Dillian White busted too?
Yeah.
He was?
Wasn't he?
I don't think
so. Wasn't it Povetkin?
No, it's Dillian White, Big Baby Miller, and Golovkin. Both came out and said stuff about it.
No, it wasn't. There was a different. It was like a set of heavyweights. It was like a trio of heavyweights.
So there's more people saying it too.
There's more people saying it, right?
So a lot of people are saying that this guy.
Golovkin didn't accuse him of doping.
No. But he said that the testing is different over here than over there.
The testing may be different, but it doesn't mean illegal in the sense that, they're not letting them take, steroids over there.
No, but they have, for certain drugs, they have different rules.
And I think that's reasonable. I don't think.
But I don't know if over there you can get a therapeutic use exemption for TRT and fight. I know here you can't.
Number one, we don't even know that's what he's using. If there is a therapeutic use exemption.
I don't know. I'm not saying anything's true or not. I'm just telling you what's being put out there.
Yeah, but who's it being put out there by? People that have no contact with this camp.
No, that's true.
So.
But it's something it's a rumor that's starting to gain traction.
Well, what about the Floyd rumor? I mean, Floyd said that Pacquiao was doping. And there was no evidence, none, that he was ever doping. And then all of a sudden, everybody believes it. It's all nonsense. But yet Floyd's the one that getting IVs before the fight or after the fight. It was before the fight, after the weigh-ins.
In my opinion, they were both doing something. They were both doing stuff.
They had to be, yes.
Both of them were.
Yeah.
And I'll stand on that. So, but that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing that's being put out there. So, now I'm again conspiracy theory number 3.
Oh no.
Will that be a problem? Will that be a sticking point for Ruiz's team? Will they say, well, you know what? Because Ruiz is VADA. Anthony Joshua's still not VADA.
It doesn't matter.
He's used VADA before, but he's not like part of the clean boxing program. But again, he's not a WBC fighter, so he doesn't have to be. But neither is Ruiz, but he's still signed out. So that's the thing. I mean, a lot of people are accusing Joshua for being allowed to take stuff. So,
but then again, they have no basis for these accusations. I mean, zero. But why? Because he's big.
No, they don't. But I'm just saying.
I mean, zero.
But what I'm saying is,
why not float the rumor that Andy Ruiz is on EPO? Why not float that rumor? Because he didn't look gassed at all. No. He looked pretty good. He looked like he could run a marathon.
What I'm saying is, just like Floyd used the drug testing excuse against Manny Pacquiao, well, they try to rehash that, bring it up in this fight, using it as an excuse to not want to go over in the UK. That's all. That's what I'm asking.
I don't think Ruiz. I don't think Ruiz thinks that for a second. I don't think that.
Okay. Because Dillian White came out strong on Anthony Joshua.
White's a moron. Dillian White is doing anything and everything to keep his name in the papers. That's it.
That's true.
He's got nothing going on. I mean, he's got absolutely. Does he even have a fight lined up?
Yeah, he's fighting Oscar Rivas.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
The guy that just knocked out Brian Jennings. But Brian Jennings was beating that guy the whole fight and got knocked out.
And Dillian White he's on the bubble. I mean, as far as the heavyweights go. You know. Gucci Kid, salute. Reese Mack, salute. Jeffrey DeRuin, salute. Chandler M, salute. There you go. Love it. Now, Chandler M says that so obvious AJ is doping. Look at him with his unnatural muscle. I don't think he has unnatural muscle at all. He just looks like a big guy. Just looks like a big guy today, you know. Joe Lowe, salute. Mr. Boxing Today, salute. There you go. Andy Ruiz is on SCB, Snickers candy bars. Did you see him in the PBC interview where he ate a Snickers on camera?
He's eating too much Snickers, man.
Well, he's got. I think he's got an endorsement deal with them. I don't know that it's, but I think they've been sending him stuff and everything like that. So they're very happy. And
he should be doing commercials for them.
He should. I think that's in the works. I would imagine it would be. If it's not already, it's got to be close. You know, but I tell you what, man, he's a good representative for the heavyweight champion of the world. He really is. He's got a lot of personality. You catch him on the late night.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, he's got a lot of personality. Man.
I was telling someone the other day that like, he looked natural. He looked natural doing it too. Like he didn't look nervous. He just came off. He comes off as a real confident person.
Yeah,
it's real secure. It's like secure in his own skin.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. I thought both him and Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, to a large extent, are what they're like gentlemanly. You know what I mean? Deontay Wilder reminds me more of that Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? He's the guy that if you're in a fight, he's the guy you want on your side.
Deontay Wilder's got that street fighter mentality inside him.
He does, and that's what makes him charismatic too. Because he's another one that is just. I mean, when you talk to him, man, it's like he is really something to talk to. You know.
Let me ask you this question, because is it fair to automatically say now, after watching this fight, that Deontay Wilder would automatically beat Anthony Joshua?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Because do you think Anthony Joshua would have an easier time against Deontay Wilder than he had against Andy Ruiz? Do you think the style matchup with Deontay Wilder?
It's styles. Yeah, it's all styles, man.
You think it would be easier for him to deal with that?
Yeah, I do, because Wilder really comes at you one way. Ruiz surprised me. I mean, that's the best I've ever seen Ruiz look, and we've seen him fight quite a few times. I mean, that's the best I've ever seen him look. Certainly didn't expect what we saw there, so much so that I would pick him in the rematch. And he's already an underdog in the rematch. He's already a 3-1 underdog in the rematch.
Yeah, because Joshua, something very well could have happened in that camp. We don't know definitively.
Right. But I'll tell you what, camp, panic attack, knockout, whatever aside, it's a bad style matchup for him.
Okay.
It
Fair
just
enough.
is. I think he wins the rematch if Anthony comes in 100%. I think he wins that rematch.
You're that confident.
Yeah, barring that he doesn't like blow up during camp on Snickers and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
He deserves to have his little fun. That's for sure. I mean, he deserves it.
Because
But if he comes in the same weight or lighter, yeah, he does him again, man.
because the narrative out there is that wasn't the real Joshua. In a rematch, we're going to see the real Joshua, and he's going to blow him out of there.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if that was the real Joshua, the fake Joshua, Joshua's twin. Doesn't matter.
But those defensive flaws were there in other fights.
Yeah. Well, you had talked about it. You were the one that I first heard bring it up with the right hand, that he's got a penchant for getting hit with right hands. And you're right. He does. He has he gets hit with right hands. What about the left hook? He got hit with that left hook with Klitschko, and he got hit with that left hook with Ruiz also. So the defensive flaws are there. Why on earth they're not looking to switch trainers is beyond me. And
or at least bring somebody in. At least bring somebody in.
Yeah, Steve Kim had said, he had put out a tweet saying something to the effect of, well, is it fair to criticize, McCracken now, were you guys calling for his head prior to this loss? And come to think of it, we mentioned we didn't call for his head, but we did mention the flaws.
Yeah,
and we did mention the flaws not getting better through his fights, for sure.
He's gotten worse. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Deontay Wilder's gotten a little bit better over the years. A little bit offensively. I think he's starting to really. I think his jab has improved a lot, and I think I think because his jab's improved so much, he's having an easier time landing his right hand.
Breland's his coach. I mean, if you can't improve your jab with Breland, man.
I don't think he's really improved defensively that much, but he's got faster feet than Joshua though.
He's more athletic. He's an athlete, man.
He can get in and out. And when Deontay Wilder, when he's hurt, he holds. He knows how to hold and lean on you and freeze the action.
He's a survivor.
He has better survival instincts than Joshua. He has a better killer instinct than Joshua, and he's just more explosive than Joshua. But the thing, so I don't think he's really. I think he's gotten a little better at his offense. His defense has probably stayed the same. I think Anthony Joshua has gotten worse, all around. I'm not gonna say he's horrible,
right.
But I've seen a steady decline in his skills. I've seen guys kind of pick up on a lot of his flaws more and more, as his career progressed.
Right.
So I'm not so sure he could fix everything. And what about Ruiz? He's going to get a full camp this time, and he's going to get a full camp, number one, and he's going to have actual tape to look at.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And this is a guy who's a cerebral fighter. He's already a very technically sound, very smart, intelligent fighter.
Right.
Now he has more data to work off of to enhance that. Where Joshua's really not that type of guy. He's not a. Go back and watch that fight. I urge you. He's like, what punch did he hit me with? He goes,
yeah.
What is he? He goes, what is he going to do? What is he going to do? What is he going to come out with next? What is he going to do at the start of this round?
He's confused.
He was saying crazy things in there. I was astounded what I was listening to.
I think you hit it on the head, but I disagree. I don't think that Anthony Joshua's skills have gotten worse. I don't think his skills have deteriorated.
Okay.
But it's like in baseball where the guy, you got that home run hitter that can only hit a fastball. And once you throw him a curveball, all of a sudden, his batting average goes down, everything goes to the side. And that's what happens with Anthony Joshua. He's been scouted. And he's never tightened up on his flaws.
Yeah,
he fights the same way today as he did 3 years ago, in the sense that, he's learned some, but he has still got those flaws. And I don't know why his trainers have not taken him aside and said, hey, this is what we work on. This is what we work on. I don't know. The other thing, I'll tell you what, Eddie Hearn did a huge disservice to him by making him a 2-fight-a-year fighter. That really, to me, hindered his growth, because he was very young when he got the title, very new. You know, he didn't even have 20 fights yet, I don't believe.
So maybe give him a couple soft defenses in between some of the hard ones, in other words?
Absolutely. You remember with Chavez and Andy Ruiz, listen, man, Andy Ruiz is going to look the same with a full camp as he did with this camp.
Yeah.
Because he already had a full camp, and he had a fight.
But today
he just continued to train.
But today most fighters do fight twice a year, but that's after having like 25, 30 fights.
Right, not 17.
I understand 100% what you're saying.
You know,
because people are going to turn around and say to you, Eric, well, doesn't everyone fight twice a year now?
No.
Yeah, but that's when, after having 30, 35 fights under their belt, that's when they'd start becoming twice a year fighters.
Right. You know, and everybody criticized Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. for fighting, 6 times a year or something like that, or whatever he did. And he's just fighting bums in Mexico. He's fighting cab drivers, blah, blah, blah. He does that to stay in ring shape. There's a difference. Listen, even if you're sparring or whatever, it's not the same thing as getting in the ring in front of a crowd and fighting. That's why he did what he did, and that's why he had the streak that he had.
Well, go
that's
back
why
and
he
look
was so difficult to beat, because he's always in shape. He's always there.
Absolutely. Go back and look at Sugar Ray Robinson's record.
Yeah.
After he won the title, how many 8-round, 10-rounders did he have in between title defenses?
Joe Louis, same way. Joe Louis all the time.
And that's what they did back then. That's what they said
with Mike Tyson. Their goal was to keep him, that they didn't want him wandering out. They didn't want him in trouble in the street or anything like that. They didn't want him caught up in any trouble, so they kept him as busy as possible. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Even when he was champion, he was fighting more than twice a year.
That was a pretty good point Steve Kim made, because they fast-tracked Joshua too quickly without letting him fully develop.
Right. And the opportunity came, and you can't listen, man. You can't turn down that opportunity, because you know he's going to beat Charles Martin. You know what I mean? To get the belt. You can't turn down that opportunity. But for you to now put him on the shelf as a 2-time-a-year fighter this young and with this much to learn, this raw, nah, man, that doesn't work.
And maybe all of that did wear on him. Maybe all of that did put a lot of heavy pressure on him, because everything was coming so fast.
We have zero idea what it's like to be that guy. Who carries that entire promotion on his back. You know what I mean? Look at the pressure on Canelo. He's got that whole DAZN program on his back. You know what I mean? But this guy's been at it for a long time. And the pressure has come gradually.
And that's why I say things about, his desire and everything, because I look at the other guy, Deontay Wilder, and he just looks like he's got a chip on his shoulder 24/7. Like he's a fucking warrior, that guy.
Yeah,
he's ready.
For sure.
He's ready to throw down at any time. I'm not sitting there saying it's good to be the tough guy, gangster, whatever. But he's just got to kill it. Like Naseem Richardson said it best about him. He's a different breed. He's like a street fighter.
Yeah.
Like he goes in there like he wants to fight you. He'll box you, but he wants to fight you. Yeah. Like it's different for him than it is for most fighters. He just has that killer instinct. He's got a lot of just got a lot of drive inside him. He's got a lot of fire in his belly. He's just got he's got so much. I don't want to say he's got hate inside him, but he's just got a lot of animosity inside him. Like he's got a lot of pent up aggression inside. He's got a mean streak. He's got a lot of pent up aggression inside him. And that's something that you really can't teach. And that's the difference between him.
That you can't teach aggression.
That's the difference between him and Joshua.
You got it or you don't.
Joshua just doesn't have that.
I disagree with that. I don't think you can get to where Joshua was without having that.
I think you can with skill. I think he has it to some degree, but I don't think he has it to the level of Deontay Wilder.
No, and
I mean,
right, and you could say like Terrence Crawford,
and that's not to take anything away from him. I mean, he's a gifted guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure, man. For sure.
Tyson Fury's got something special inside him too. We saw that in the 12th round.
You don't get up from that. I mean,
But not
there's no getting from that.
but not everyone can do that all the time. Like there's
No.
the body's
it's not
going to
something you
break
want
the
to go
body.
well that many times on.
The body's going to break down. The body's going to shut down over time, and you're not going to be able to do that.
No, for sure. For sure.
So be interesting.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Tomorrow we will do a live cast. For the we'll be calling the fight for the Triple G and Steve Rolls on DAZN. So stay tuned. I believe the fight is about 10:30. I would think. I don't know for a fact, but
I think the card starts at 5:36. So
really,
I think so.
Well, the main card, I guess, will start at 8 then.
Let me go take a look at the.
That's right, because they're showing the entire card.
Yeah, they show. That's one good thing about the zone too.
You gotta love that, right?
There's many good things about the zone, but that's one of the great things about the zone is they show everything.
How awesome is that, guys? I mean, like the fact that you get to see entire cards now. Like we were just at the arena,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
That's true. It says that card starts at 7 tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
so
7.
So I imagine he'll be getting in the ring about 10 or 11. So
yeah, probably about
we'll
11.
be live for that and kind of go over what's going on and everything like that. But I do not expect any shockers tomorrow. No shock tomorrow. I think this goes according to the chalk. So.
Yep.
There you go.
Should
All
be,
right, guys.
Should be a quick one.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Take care, and we will see you tomorrow.